You are listening to Keep Canada Weird.
Handsome Aaron Airport. 184 times we met here. In 184 times, we kept Canada weird by seeking out and exploring all the unique and offbeat news stories that played out across the past week and across this great country. We're going to do it again tonight, but before we do that, how are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thanks for asking. And, you know, for a change, I'd like to know how you're doing.
You know, I'm doing great, but I am a little parched. Is that the right word, meaning like thirsty? I had a salty supper.
Yeah.
I went to the mall, I went to the food court, and ended up buying like this like kind of Chinese chicken stuff, and I think it may have been a bit salty, and as a result of that, I'm dying to get into my special drink. Do you mind if I crack it open early?
I don't mind at all. You can dig deep into your special drink. Tell us what it is.
For new listeners of Keep Canada Weird, we always start our show by unveiling a special drink, which is a little something that Aaron and I can hold in our hands, sip on as the other is talking, and just make the night feel a little more special. To do that tonight, I have a Cove probiotic soda. I've been all over these Cove sodas since Costco started carrying them. The blue raspberry is my favorite flavor. Some of the more sweeter ones, I find them a little too sweet, but this blue raspberry is like a sour pop. It's actually delicious, and it's amazing podcast juice. You got a drink over there?
Wow. I haven't seen that flavor before. In the grocery store, there's only like 3 or 4 flavors of Cove, but I guess at Costco, there's a whole rainbow of different Cove flavors.
Yeah, and this one is special. I'll save them for you. Next time you're in Halifax, I'll hand deliver it or just pass it to you. You got a drink over there?
I do, but you'll be disappointed by the drink, but not what the drink is in. So I do just have water tonight, which is still special. Mm-hmm. It's the giver of life. It's actually probably, it's the most special drink you could possibly have, actually. The more I think about it.
When all is said and done, I would say, yeah, it's pretty magical.
It is the drink that defeated the aliens in the movie Signs.
The M. Night Shyamalan.
A spoiler alert. Mm-hmm.
Yes, if you haven't seen it, don't bother now.
Don't bother. It's now ruined for you. Mm-hmm. But I do have it in my Robin's Donuts mug.
Okay. I'm wearing my Robin's Donuts sweater. We'll come back to the topic of Robin's Donuts. I want to start the show with a story here, though. I think it's maybe a little bit of redemption for the scammers who are stealing money from Canadians. Last week, we covered quite a few scam stories, mainly ones that were online scams, often targeting the vulnerable, the elderly, and it seemed like a lot of like low-hanging fruit scams. And we kind of gawked a little bit at just how silly some of these scams are and the fact that many people can fall for them. Tonight, I want to start the show with a scam warning that's coming out of Brandon, Manitoba, that isn't this low-hanging fruit scam. It's almost like magician scams. Listen to this. Police in Brandon, Manitoba are warning local businesses after a wave of quick change scams left some shops short thousands of dollars. This con involves fast-talking customers using large bills and rapid requests for different change configurations to ultimately confuse the cashier into handing over a bit of extra money. I'm just going to play a quick news report here about Canada's quick change hustlers.
Police in Brandon released this footage of 2 people they say are responsible for a handful of scams in that city. Typically, a customer will try to purchase an item with high denomination bills, and then while the clerk is making change, they'll start pulling out other large bills and ask for different change. Brandon police say some of the losses have been in the thousands of dollars.
What you need to watch for is that scammers often use high denomination bills and they request change for smaller ones. They may ask for a series of change-related requests in quick succession to distract and confuse the teller. The goal is to make the employee lose track of the transaction and accidentally hand over extra money.
Police say if the transaction is becoming overwhelming, it's best to pause and call over a supervisor, and you should always count out change audibly. The 2 suspects from the surveillance video are likely traveling, meaning you should be on your toes even if you're not located in Brandon.
Yeah, so I guess that's a bit of a PSA. Although it's coming from the Brandon, Manitoba police, This is something that must be, or could be, or is about to be affecting Canadians nationwide. Let me ask, handsome Aaron Airport, would you fall for the quick change scam? Could someone confuse you by just yelling out numbers and throwing bills at you, I guess?
I would imagine anybody would be confused by that, no matter what your, counting skill level is. It's especially when, but it's kind of, to me, it's kind of a roll of the dice regardless. Like, do they know for sure every time they're going to go in? Maybe they have a specific way of doing it so that it's almost guaranteed to pay off every time. But I would assume that you're kind of rolling the dice when you go in for this scam if you're going to really get that much back at all.
Well, I guess you would really have to be able to count fast in your head as the scammer, because you have to like play the part and keep a level composure on your face as if you're just trying to get the right change. But you need to be able to do the math in your head and meticulously and strategically decide what bills you're passing and what change you're asking for.
And they would also probably only do it to specific people. Like, they probably go in the store and they get a sense of who the cashier is. Mm-hmm. And if it's somebody who would have a problem with them asking for change repeatedly at once, and if this is the type of person that would just want to appease you and make the customer happy. Mm-hmm. So they probably, they probably, scope out the place, scope out who's working, and see if they could pull it off effectively. But again, they don't really know how much incorrect change they're going to get back. So they might only walk out with $5 or $10, or they might walk out with 75 or 150. It's kind of, it's so dependent on the cashier themselves and how large of a mistake they're going to make in the chaos.
Yeah, and I wonder if they ever mess up themselves, the scammers, and walk out and be like, oh, crap, like I tricked her into giving me not enough change. That may happen, but by the sounds of this warning, stores are owed thousands to the point that the police are issuing a release. So it must be effective. These people must be good at it. It's a mix of sleight of hand, misdirection, and again, just like kind of social engineering. But unlike the scams we talked about last week, this is like a low-tech scam. This is the kind of scam where you got to walk in, look someone in the eye, trick them, and get their money. I don't like scammers, and I don't like shoplifters or any of that stuff. But if you're going to scam people, I have more respect for someone who can pull this off than someone who is tricking my grandmother into thinking it's me and I'm locked up in prison and I need a couple $100.
Yeah, it reminds me of the type of scam that somebody who's really good at counting cards would be kind of doing something like this. But I just don't see it being a big payoff, though, for the amount of footwork that you have to do, the amount of pounding the pavement, going from store to store to get small amounts of change after confusing cashiers. It seems low rent to me. I don't know. How do you feel?
Same. Is the juice worth the squeeze? If you got to be walking into the store, getting yourself on surveillance camera, winding up on the news and all this stuff like these two fellows are, I'm surprised to see this scam being used in this day and age of technological scams. This one seems a lot more work and there is some skill required. But then again, in some parts of the world, pickpocketing is like an art form. Mm-hmm. And that's even more like old-fashioned and low-tech than this.
There is a bit more respect for the pickpocketer that I have. Somebody who's good at sleight of hand and can bump into somebody, distract them, have them looking at this, and then taking their wallet with the other hand, and them not even noticing until they go to pay for something later on. And there's a lot of skill to that. And although I don't encourage people to do it, but I do respect it in terms of its skill level. So, but with this scam here, what works well for it, now that it's kind of more publicized that it's happening, that might go away. But if you get caught doing this, you can easily plead ignorance. Like, well, I just asked her for change and she gave me the wrong change and I didn't notice.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure that would work. I guess they would have evidence that you did the same thing at 8 spots or whatever it is. But if you just get caught at one and the police aren't able to put it all together, it said in that news clip that they suspect these people are traveling by crossing, provincial borders and doing it from, amongst different police forces. That would probably make it so that if you did get caught, it would be a lone isolated incident. You could be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't even realize. I'm an idiot about math and I didn't know.
Yeah, this almost reminds me of someone who kind of does crimes like this for the thrill of it and not necessarily for the payoff.
I wonder.
So they're doing this. And even the picture of these two gentlemen.
They're not gentlemen, though. They're pricks.
You don't know that.
I'm sure they're pricks.
They could have held the door open for somebody on the way into the store.
Yeah, that's true.
So would you say they're not gentlemen because they steal? You can't be a gentleman?
I don't know enough about them, but being a betting man, I will bet you they are not gentlemen.
Well,
go on with your thought.
Okay. So they look like they're dapper, handsome, dashing gentlemen. That's just what they look like. I'm not saying who they are, but that's what they look like. So you wouldn't suspect these two to be pulling these types of low rent scams with cashiers in stores. So that's the interesting part of it too, which makes me lean even further into my theory of that they're not doing this for the money. They're just like, let's go hit up a couple stores and see how much we can get for fun.
Yeah, you may be right. And that would actually make a little bit of sense. But you may not be able to make sense of some of the other stories we have to cover tonight. There's been a lot of weird news playing out in Canada over the past week. When we get back from our first break, we're going to go through two what the F stories that both involve animals. We're going to do dogs and deer after this break. Handsome Air and Airport, any opportunity to mention my dog, I will. I have a beautiful, now 9.5-month-old dog named Penny. She came to me from the Bahamas, and she's the love of my life. She has puppy dog eyes. She loves getting scratched. She adores treats. And every so often when I'm on the couch editing this podcast, she will lay on my feet and just kind of look over towards me thinking, I love you, Dad. And I will say, this dog has stolen my heart. I could go on forever about it, but I won't. We got to get into the first story. It's a what the F story, and it does involve dogs. When more than 24 dogs and puppies were found running loose through a Calgary neighborhood this week, police, bylaw officers, and the Calgary Humane Society responded. After taking the dogs into custody, the owner went public with pleas to please return those too many dogs to my home. Here is the story of too many puppies in Calgary.
Dozens of puppies, adult dogs, and cats are being cared for after being seized from a Northwest home on Sunday. Despite accusations of negligence, the owner spoke to us and said she loves and cares for all of those pets. Tyler Barrow reports.
On Sunday, 42 pets were taken from this home in the 2100 block of 24th Avenue Northwest. Police were responding to a call of more than 24 puppies running around the block. Multiple residents stay at the home. Siren Bowman owns several of the pets.
They took my life away. Those are my children.
In the end, 32 puppies, 4 adult dogs, and 6 cats were taken. The residents were served with a notice saying the pets were in deprival of adequate shelter, ventilation, space, food, water, veterinary care, or reasonable protection from injuries, heat, or cold.
I was told that they were roaming around outside the fence. Like, okay, I can understand why they got taken for that, but like, they didn't need to take all of them. Like, they're not even living in an abandoned environment.
She says she did try and sell the puppies herself, but had no luck. CTV News did speak with a nearby neighbor who said they would hear the dogs barking at night and hear the owner screaming at them after they escaped the yard. Bowman maintains her love for her pets.
I'd do anything for them. I would never let them put any kind of harm to them.
After spending the past few days at an off-site clinic, the pets will be transported to the Calgary Humane Society by the end of day Tuesday. The Humane Society and the Calgary Police Service are investigating the matter.
Only a few cats currently remain at the home.
That little piece at the end sounded like it was like a separate news clip that was added in. That wasn't my editing or anything like that. It was like tacked on at the end of that news report. I wonder if they felt it relevant to include that for some reason. But anyway, this story is a part of our commitment to cover any cat or dog story that's in the news in Canada, for better or worse. This one is a little sad because that person does sound brokenhearted, but it's also really weird. It seems like it's sort of like a rooming house. Like this house, it mentioned in the news clip that it was multiple residents of the home. The video shot inside the home makes it look like almost like a bit of a hoarder situation. There's still several cats kind of like walking around as the owner is saying, those are my children. They took my life away. But when you think of it, they took 42-ish pets, most of which were dogs. Could you imagine a house with several roommates and 42 pets? That's an obscene amount.
Yeah.
Someone has to step in.
Someone has to step in. I feel really conflicted about this story because usually when I see a story where animals are at risk, their health is in danger, they're kind of being... We covered a few stories on this podcast about animals being taken away from a home.
Yeah,
where
recently it was all the
snakes.
snakes.
Animals in there, they're neglected, those types of things, those situations. And I always 100% side with the animal, and I curse the owners and I want them jailed and just whatever other punishments we can throw their way. But this individual seems like they're struggling, and it seems like I don't think that they're intentionally neglecting the animals. I think they're just probably not capable of taking care of themselves or the animals, and things had gotten out of control. She does seem to show a lot of genuine care and love for the animals. It's just that she just doesn't seem capable of giving them a proper home. And
yeah, that's a very mature take on it, and I agree 100%. This outcome of the dogs and animals being taken away is probably the right choice.
right. But I will say this, and I've been wanting to say this for a while, actually, and I hate to do it now. I should have done it before when we recorded, but the way you talk of Penny, your dog, and you refer to Penny as, you just said, Canada's sweetest dog.
My angel.
Your angel. But you keep referring to Penny as being the best and all of these things. And I think it's starting to get to a point where it's offensive to other animal owners that you're suggesting that our pets are less than Penny.
Are you suggesting like a Keep Canada Weird cutest pet contest?
No, I'm suggesting we all love our pets equally. And I do talk about Ken, my cat, sometimes on this show, but I never refer to him as being the best cat in the world or the best cat in Canada. He's my cat. I love him. I wouldn't trade him for the world, but I'm not going to downgrade anybody else's love for their excellent pets. I think we should treat them all as equal.
Okay. Keep in mind that I'm a new pet owner, so I'm learning a lot of this as I go, and I'm glad I have you to let me know where the line is, because I will check myself before I offend someone else who loves their pets.
Yeah, you cross a line a couple of days after you got Penny.
Okay.
And then I've been getting emails from the correspondents, and they've been talking behind your back about it.
Shit. It's that bad?
Yeah, it's that bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
I'll edit all this out, but thanks for telling me.
okay, yeah, I edited all this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's forget that.
You're just going to edit in me going, I love Penny. Penny is the best.
Let's get to the next story. This one involves deer, and this is topical for me because for whatever reason, I think it's because there's a chestnut tree outside my house. Every night, you can count on 5 deer being on my front lawn, chewing on chestnuts, and my sweet dog, Penny, who I love, and makes my life, she enriches my life. She's in the window barking at the deer. But anyway, this story is about deer, but not the deer that Penny barks at. In Edmonton's West End neighborhood of Glastonbury, a herd of metal deer statues have been quietly disappearing. Over the past year and a half, 5 beloved public art pieces have been stolen from local parks. Here's the story of the stolen deer statues in Edmonton.
Guinevere Park in the southwest community of Glastonbury used to feature several prominent deer statues, but recently the statues were stolen. Surveillance footage on the morning of September 20th shows 2 people lifting the statue up into the back of a red pickup truck and driving away. The theft took just minutes. This is not the first instance of these thefts occurring in the area. Footage from the same camera captured another statue being taken in March. Gary Boehm with the Parkland Neighborhood Residents Association says the statues were what made the park special for residents.
You always see kids around hugging them, having pictures taken on them. So they're very much part of the community, much part of the social part of the community.
Guinevere Park isn't the only area where deer statues were stolen. Just down the road at Park Le Surf, which literally translates to Deer Park, a deer statue was stolen right in this exact spot. Now, the association says these statues are anchored down by steel rods, meaning those who stole them went through a lot of trouble to do so.
The thieves actually came. In some cases, they knocked them over. Some, they actually cut the legs off to take them, we assume, for scrap metal.
Boehm says the association made the call to remove remaining statues to keep them safe over the winter, with planning around visibility and future locations before they're brought back into the community. Edmonton police are aware of the theft at Guinevere Park, saying they continue to investigate and encourage anyone with information to contact them.
I guess this is the latest entry in our ongoing series covering crime related to scrap metal. Because we get into this quite a bit, right?
Oh, it seems to be almost every week. Somebody is stealing a small amount of metal to sell for a small amount of money.
Yeah, they didn't say, I think this news report really missed the point. And they didn't say what they were made out of. To me, they just look like, I don't know, just big metal things. But would it be steel? Isn't the only metal, other than precious metals, but I know copper is worth a lot of money and bronze and stuff. But just aluminum or run-of-the-mill steel, is it worth enough that you would chop down a deer statue from a local park with your buddy and pull it to your truck and throw it in the back of your truck? You must feel like such a piece of crap when you're doing that.
I don't think so. I don't think they see the value in the deer statues in sense of how the community views these statues. I think they just look and say, let's steal those dumb statues. We could sell that for $40.
Yeah.
We both said $40.
Well, I bet you we're probably pretty close. You probably, for scrap metal like that, $40 to $60. It's a hell of a lot easier than having to go do the quick cash change scam. So this is instead of the sleight of hand talent that the quick change scammers have, all these clowns have is a power saw or some kind of power tool that can cut the legs off of a deer statue. They are the low-hanging fruit of scammers. It takes skill and social skills to trick someone into thinking you're their missing grandchild or whatever and get them to send you money when you call them. It takes some skill to do the sleight of hand stuff. This is the idiot scam. I'm going to a local park and I'm just stealing a bunch of deer that kids take selfies on. It sucks. And this is one of the reasons why we, be it Canadians or humans in the year 2025, can't have nice things. If there aren't teenagers vandalizing it, there's some idiot with a power tool who's trying to steal it.
Right. But what if this wasn't stolen for scrap metal? What if this was a hunter who, say, has never really been able to shoot a deer and really wants to impress his hunter friends?
Okay.
And they're like, you'll never shoot a deer. You're terrible. You're the worst hunter. And he's constantly being humiliated. And so this is his way of there is some deer I know that can't run from me.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes and he steals these and then he brings them to his friends. And he's like, I got the sweetest game of all. And then they give him $40 for them.
Fortunately, I own a scrapyard, and yes, I will buy it. Your theory may work if it was just like a one incident. This is something that happened multiple thefts over a long period of time. It's gotten so bad that the deer that haven't been stolen were actually taken down and put away by the city or whoever looks after these deer statues. And they're trying to figure out a way that they can bring this deer back, but have them more secure so they can't be stolen, which is probably going to be involving them behind some kind of thing so you can't access them or something, which it just sucks. I feel bad, and I feel like things are just getting so bad out there. If it gets to the point that the deer statues are being stolen from our parks in small towns across Canada, it's a bad story.
What if it's somebody who's preparing a Christmas display and they're going to use these as Santa's reindeer on their lawn? And they've been slowly over the years stealing, I stole one this year, and then I'll let the dust settle. I'll let some time pass so that the heat dies down, and then I'll go back for another, and then another.
And then they will have a big reveal in a couple years. All the neighborhood children are going to come and see the deer. The thief is going to paint themselves in full chrome colored paint as Santa Claus. And that could be a little bit of a redemption arc.
Yeah.
And I think the city will then have some tough questions about, should we prosecute, or is this maybe a good thing?
It could be better use for these deer. It'll bring joy to so many neighborhood children. This magnificent Santa Claus display during the holidays. This could really...
Solid chrome.
Yeah. He's like, you're using these deer wrong, but nobody's listening to me. So I had to take matters into my own hands and literally rip them out of the ground and put them in my own lawn.
There could be a backstory too. This guy may have tried to run for mayor and stuff, all on the promise of making better use of the deer. He didn't win. He's been silenced. And there could be a bit of a redemption arc. I guess time will tell. Let's take our second and final break and move on to a story that I don't think is going to have a happy ending. I don't think any story that involves a lunatic with a chainsaw in a graveyard is going to end well. We have the chainsaw mystery in the London graveyard after this short break. Handsome Aaron Airport. I guess this is going to be a bit of a Keep Canada Weird Halloween story, because how could it not be a Halloween story if it involves a mysterious person with a chainsaw in a graveyard in London, Ontario? But that's kind of where the horror ends in the story. Let me tell you what happened. When staff at Woodland Cemetery in London, Ontario arrived to the grounds this past Saturday morning, they found a grim and equally baffling sight. 2 trees, including one planted as a family memorial, had been cleanly cut down overnight with a chainsaw. No one knows who did it. No one knows why. Here's the story of the chainsaw mystery in a London graveyard.
It's a place of peace and quiet reflection, but that peace was shattered by the buzz of a chainsaw when someone laid to waste healthy trees and shrubs growing amongst the gravestones at Woodland Cemetery.
First I've heard about this. That's terrible. It's terrible. I can't believe it. I mean, some stupid things happen here, which should never happen.
It's believed to have happened overnight Friday. Staff made the first discovery Saturday morning when they came upon this felled tree, which had all the signs of being cut with a chainsaw. Then Wednesday, the remains of this memorial tree were discovered when a partially cut trunk nearly fell on a man sitting under it. Woodland GM Kerry Blackwell says it's upsetting.
I just don't understand the thought process of this individual and why they would do something like this. This is such a peaceful place. People come here to remember their loved ones. So it's very concerning.
It disturbs me. Just disturbs me that someone would come in and do anything to a cemetery. It's a respectful place.
The sprawling property is bordered by a chain link fence, and the main gates are closed at night by security. But staff are well aware that if somebody wants to get in here after hours, well, this place is not impenetrable. They have filed a report with police. In the meantime, they're hoping regular visitors will help them keep an eye out.
Maybe we'll call them the woodland watchers or something like that. But if anyone is interested in helping out, they can certainly contact us.
I don't know if starting a private militia called the Woodland Watchers is going to solve this case, but it is a pretty baffling mystery. So it's as simple as it sounds. Somebody went into this graveyard overnight on Friday with a chainsaw, cut down one tree completely, cut another tree 70% of the way. That tree that wasn't fully cut down ended up falling down days later and almost hit somebody, which is just an odd twist in it all. But why the hell would they do that? What crime or what do they have to gain by chopping down trees with a chainsaw in a graveyard at night?
Well, it seems personal. Some kind of a personal vendetta against the graveyard or somebody in the graveyard. So what I would do is look at the graves that are next to the trees that are cut down.
They did say one of the trees was a family memorial tree. Like you could plant a tree and use it as, I think this graveyard offered a service where not only could you bury someone and have the headstone and stuff, but you could also sprinkle ashes and such. So I think you could have a tree and sprinkle some ashes around it and use that as a resting place. So yeah, you could be onto something. It could be personal against someone buried or laid to rest there, or the organization themselves. But I feel like if you wanted to attack the graveyard, let's say they charge too much for a burial plot and you're mad at them or something like that, I feel like bringing a chainsaw in at night and cutting down a tree is just a weird way to do it.
It's also a loud way to do it too. That's a really, ear catching way to try and get away with something. So if you're using a chainsaw in the middle of the night, how can you not get caught?
Yeah, in a graveyard too. You would really stand out. If there's a guy with a chainsaw in his backyard or something at night, you'd still be like, why is that guy using the chainsaw at night? But in a graveyard with a chainsaw at night, that's just a terrifying image.
Imagine if you're walking home from a party or something, and you're walking.
I'll just get the shortcut through the graveyard.
I'm gonna cut through the graveyard. It'll save me 10 minutes. And then there's a guy wielding a chainsaw in the middle of the graveyard. And you're like, I should have went the long way.
Completely alone.
Yeah. Oh, the legend is true, I see.
That's really how it sounds, though. The feeling that you would get, to talk back to, or to call back to something we talked about earlier, the weird feeling you would get being the people stealing the deer statues, how crappy you must feel, I would hope, doing a crime like that. Imagine how you would feel sneaking into the graveyard. You have a gas can and this big chainsaw. It's 4 a.m. You're climbing the fence with your chainsaw.
And you don't want the wood chips to get in your eye, so you wear a hockey mask.
Yeah, just that. I would have to wear the hockey mask regardless. It's the only accessory for sneaking into a graveyard at night with a chainsaw in October.
Yeah, next time they try to cut the trees down, they're using a glove with knives on the fingers. I'll use this instead. It'd be a lot quieter. Yeah. And now they're asking the neighbors to watch the place for them. It's who's gonna?
They're forming a militia.
Who's gonna want to stare at a graveyard all hours of the night for them?
You know who? The neighborhood watch.
Yeah, the woodland watchers.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is. I don't think, aside from shutting the gate and locking it, that should be enough. You shouldn't need a private militia to look after a graveyard. But given the state of the world in 2025, maybe that is what has come to. We can't have deer. We can't have trees in our graveyards.
No, I can't even imagine the battle that would ensue in the middle of the graveyard with the woodland watchers versus the psycho with a chainsaw. And then the neighbors just watching it all go down, and you just see all these old school militia uniformed people shooting muskets, and the chainsaw guy is just completely a wild card and just waving his chainsaw all over the place with his hockey mask on.
This is the story that just tells itself. What a mystery in London, Ontario. If anyone knows what's going on in this graveyard, send a voicemail by going to thecanadiangothic.com/contact. And if the chainsaw maniac is out there, we'd like to hear from you. You can also go to thecanadiangothic.com/contact and feel free to just scream maniacally into the voice recorder, and we will air it. But let's get to
leave your address so that we can send you a swag pack so you can have your Keep Canada Weird correspondent badge on your hockey mask when you're
or
cutting
right
down
on
trees.
the chainsaw.
Yeah, right on the chainsaw, yeah.
I saved the best for last tonight. I have a story here that covering this story is going to be difficult as it draws us into a sort of parallel universe of weird Canadian news and another passion of ours. You're drinking out of a
Robin's Donuts coffee mug.
I'm wearing a
Robin's Donuts sweater.
That's right. This story is going to take us to a modest house in Winnipeg that from the outside, it looks like any other forgettable home in the city. But inside this home, there's something special. One room has been transformed into a shrine for none other than Robin's Donuts. A Robin's Donuts memorabilia collector is in the news in Canada. I was shocked when a listener named Mel sent us this story. Let's just jump right into it. Here's the story of the Robin's Donuts Shrine in Winnipeg.
All right, let's go check out the Robin's Nest. Huh? Come on in.
Ronald George Moore is the curator of this collection. Some of the items include Robin's figurines, mugs, containers, a license plate, a pair of whiskey glasses, and a decanter with the Robin's logo. Moore says one of his prized possessions is a gift from his fiancée, a neon sign. Moore says the response from others has been positive.
Be interested in checking it out, so that's kind of cool. It's not like I have tours or anything, but yeah, usually people are pretty positive, and just because it's kind of a unique thing to collect. I don't really know anybody who's collecting Robin's Donuts memorabilia, so it's fun for me, and if anyone else gets a kick out of it, good for them.
Moore says he likes the chain because the coffee beans haven't changed in 50 years, and the chain is a reminder of family and home for him.
I think we just found a kindred spirit.
I don't know. I'm surprised it's taken this long for us to even know that this man exists and that he has these things. And it's nice to know that there are other people who own some Robin's swag out there other than you and I.
Yeah, and his collection is actually pretty nice. When through that news clip there, the camera panned across, like, it looks like one wall of a room is all Robin's stuff. He calls it his Robin's Nest. He has like Robin's uniform pieces, like hats and such. He has a bunch of old mugs. He has chairs from Robin's Donuts where like in the metal chair back, like Robin's is like carved into it. He had a lot of cool stuff. Some of it seems to be of a little shady origin, though. I don't know where you would get kind of the in-store stuff. Unless maybe, I guess maybe he found it like being thrown away or they let him take it or something. But things like in-store chairs, how would you even get that? I would love to have like all the stuff in his room, I would love to have here.
I'd love to have those vintage seats from the old Robin's Donuts locations, before they renovated. Like I really remember them fondly. I was sitting in them for hours, just smoking cigarettes, drinking coffees, and really annoying the staff.
For people who are new to the show that may not realize, we won't beat a dead horse here, but Robin's Donuts is a Canadian-owned coffee shop that has been going for a long time, and they really haven't changed. It's kind of like that whole thing, like, if you know, you know. People who know about Robin's know that that is Canada's favorite and best coffee shop. Aaron and I, growing up, had a Robin's Donuts in the center between our two homes, so that was kind of a traditional meeting spot. I hung out there all the time. I think it was open 24 hours, so I would be there all night.
Yeah, it used to be, yeah. And I'm lucky right now to live very near, within spitting distance of several Robin's Donuts locations. I have one just around the corner, And there's 2 or 3 a short drive from here. So it's, I'm really happy about that.
And also on this show, on Keep Canada Weird, we had listeners send us in Robin's Donuts ads that they would make a while back. This was probably around like episode 120-ish or so. The airing of these homemade ads got the attention of Robin's Donuts, who sent us a whole bunch of merch, shirts, sweaters, cups, gift cards, playing cards. They gave me a little sign that I used to have in my background here as I was recording. We got to get in touch with this guy who has the Robin's Donut Shrine and do some kind of collaboration. I'd like to send him stuff because I think we probably have stuff he would really like, and he has some stuff that I would definitely like. So I'm going to try to get in touch with this guy.
Can you imagine if we could get a picture of you, me, and him together, all wearing Robin's Donuts gear?
No one would care.
I could probably die after that.
I think that'd be it. But it's like, I think with this story, I don't want you to die after that photo. Let's just say that. But with this story, what surprises me is this is the only time in my life memory that Robin's Donuts has been in the news. I don't recall any other Robin's Donuts story. When Mel sent me this and I opened it up and saw, Winnipeg man with shrine to Robin's Donuts, it just seems like that story was made for this show.
Because Robin's Donuts still always feels like it's an inside secret, kind of retro hip thing that not a lot of people know about all over the country. So it's almost like, whoa, like, Robin's Donuts? Wow, cool, man.
Man, what a time. But anyway, we've done a lot tonight. We covered a lot of grounds. We had a lot of weird stories from the Robin's Donuts Shrine all the way back to the quick change hustlers. But there's one thing we got to do before we put a bow on this episode. Let's hear from a listener. I don't know if this is a rant or if it's a call for help. Her name's Alicia, and yes, she's been affected by the puberty problem. And for listeners new to the show, the puberty problem is the best term we could find to describe the rising number and intensity of misbehaving amongst teenagers in North America. Here's Alicia's puberty problem.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. It's Alicia, your Alberta correspondent. I'm calling with a puberty problem. So recently, well, I guess it started this spring, we have a gang of dirt bikers that are in our area. Our street kind of backs onto a green belt with some trails, so that's fine. I don't mind people, ripping by on four-wheelers and ATVs and quads and stuff like that. But there's a gang of about 4 to 6 dirt bike teenagers who leave the trails and rip up our street together, and our speed limit is 30. They're probably going 50 to 60. They pop wheelies. They think they're really cool. Anyway, one day this week, I was out chatting with my mother-in-law on the side of the road and had my dog on a leash. And I just motioned at them, with a hand motion, and mouthed to them, please, slow down. There were kids around. There's a park. And the ringleader, the guy in the front, he makes eye contact with me, and I'm like, slow down. And I motion with my hand, slow down. Makes eye contact with me, revs his engine more, and takes off at the speed of light up my street. And, my blood is boiling just thinking about it. I don't know. But anyway, just wondering what your thoughts are, if this is a puberty problem or if these are just little heathens that need to be taught different. Goodbye.
I'll let you answer that question. Is it a puberty problem or just little heathens who need to be taught differently?
Well, little heathens that need to be taught differently is the puberty problem. So yes, it's definitely the puberty problem. And the number one mistake that she made, and this is the same as when you're dealing with coyotes, the rule is you don't run. But we had that story recently on the show about last week about the gentleman who ran into 2 coyotes, and the first thing he did was run, so the coyotes chased him. It's similar to when you're dealing with the puberty problem. So when you encounter teenagers breaking the law or causing mischief in your neighborhood, the last thing you should do is say or do anything to them, because then that's just going to egg them on and make them want to do it even more. So all you can do is just stand there and take it. And then call the police if you want.
Yeah, I think all things considered, I think she got off pretty easy. She motioned and mouthed, slow down. I thought his response, that ringleader, I thought it was going to be a whole lot worse than revving his engine and taking off out of there. I thought he was about to spew some nastiness towards Alicia. And thank God he didn't.
Yeah, no, the thing is that he was just sending her a warning, and he said, listen, me and my buddies we're going to go as fast as we want on our bikes, wherever we want. And if you got a problem with that, I am going to, send a little warning rev of my engine. But if you cross my path again, please be reminded that I'm riddled with puberty and I'm going to do something far worse next time.
It's a big problem. Yes, Alicia, it is a puberty problem, and these are little heathens that need to be taught differently, and this is not your battle. What you need to do is, as Aaron said, just take it. We don't know what the solution to the puberty problem is. The media's been silent, with the exception of Keep Canada Weird and the Canadian Gothic. It doesn't seem like help's coming anytime soon,
No.
and yes, it only seems to be getting worse.
No, our hands are tied because they can't be punished. There's nothing the police will do, and doing something actually makes them want to do it even more. So
absolutely,
just go back into your house. And when you run into them in the grocery store 10, 15 years from now, like, you can do something about it then. Wait for then. When they're fully grown adults, they don't have puberty anymore, and you'll be able to physically assault them at that point.
I think now our work is done. Handsome Aaron Airport, how was episode 184? Do you feel like we contributed to the betterment of society tonight?
Yeah, we brought more awareness of Robin's Donuts. We helped some listeners with the puberty problem. And we did some other stuff, but I'm drawing blanks right now.
Let that be the end. Handsome Aaron Airport, until next time.
Jordan Bus Stop Backhoe Bonaparte, until next time.
I think we really should work on a script that the story involving the chainsaw at the graveyard and the nighttime watchers and all this, I think that forms a good basis for like an 80s throwback horror movie, and I think we're the two guys to write it.
Yeah, I think we are. And we'll sprinkle some Robin's Donuts in there too. And
well, it would be product placement. It'd just be like as someone's getting like attacked or running, they have the cup in their hands. And
well, I think the Robin from the logo, the bird, is a character in the show.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
And never explained why he's 7 feet tall and 300 pounds, this giant Robin.
Well, think about this. You hit a human being with a chainsaw, it's going to do some real damage. But if you hit like someone in like a mascot costume, all that weird fabric and stuff would just get caught up in the chainsaw, gunk it all up. I think the human within the costume would be fine. I think the chainsaw would be a mess.
No. He's not he's not a human. He's a giant like monster Robin bird.
With a chainsaw or like separate entity?
No.
Okay.
No, he's got a different storyline going on altogether in the movie. There's a lot of storylines in the movie, and the chainsaw thing is only one of them.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. There's also a giant Robin.
Like a literal
just destroying cities around the world. Dropping Robin's eggs all over people's heads, crushing them to death. I think it's solid.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. Now, if any one of you listening want to get more involved in what we're doing, we need all the correspondence we can get. So if something weird happens in your area, or if you have any thoughts on anything we discussed tonight, let us know about it. The best way to reach us is by using the voice recorder that can be found at thecanadiangothic.com/contact. Now, I'm going to start wrapping up the episode, but before we part, let us thank a few people. First of all, Aaron and I want to give a big thank you to all the correspondents who contributed to this episode. If your voice message was aired on the show, go back to thecanadiangothic.com/contact and fill out the form to claim your swag pack and Keep Canada Weird badge. We'll happily get it right out to you. Next, a big shout out to Unicole for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data, who provides the outro version of O Canada that you're about to hear. And then lastly, but most importantly, we have a massive thank you to every one of you listening, as without your interest and your support, this work would be impossible. And for any one of you out there who want to support the show financially and get more out of the show at the same time, please consider the premium feed. Our premium feed subscription costs just a couple bucks a month, and that money will fund the creation of new episodes. But the premium feed will also give you those episodes early, give them to you ad-free, and give you access to a full back catalog of Keep Canada Weird episodes and bonuses. You can go premium at thecanadiangothic.com/subscribe. And even if the premium feed isn't for you, you can still support the show by simply sharing episodes on social media. That's free, and it's a big help. So until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and please keep Canada weird.
And keep Canada weird. Please keep Canada weird.
And now to our viewers and listeners everywhere. Good night.
First of all, I have to agree with you, Jordan. The cream vanilla Girl Guide cookies are the only ones worth eating. But don't care for the Thin Mints at all. I buy all of them because I can't say no to a little girl knocking at my door, and my husband will eat anything with sugar in it anyway. But the vanilla ones are the delicious ones for sure. I wish you could buy them by themselves in a box and not buy the chocolate.
I didn't think you can get a DUI on a Barbie truck. I think it's really hilarious. It's just, I gotta go to court though in December.
I mean, some stupid things happen here, which should never happen.